Hey everybody, welcome to Stock Talk. This is Scott, your host. I want to talk about a couple of things about the market today. Been thinking about this virus that's going on. Many of you probably seen it in the news. But when I was watching this virus and the news coming out about this virus and watching how it impacts the market, I just thought about a couple of things I want to tell you about. There's a couple of things that drive the market. Number one being fear. Number two being greed. Greed is the number two thing. Those two things, if you watch the market, usually that's what's driving it. And you can take that down another level. Of course, the market's made up of stocks, so that also works at the stock level. But you can have a market that's being driven down by fear. At the same time, you can have stocks that are driving up because of greed. And we've seen a perfect example of that with this virus. Last week, if you remember, when the news started coming out, the market started going down because of this virus news. Well, if you look at drugs like Novavax or companies like Novavax, pharmaceutical companies, they were skyrocketing because of the greed part of it. The greed that they were going to be the ones that came out with some kind of vaccine. But what you see later in the week is those stocks start to fall off because people realize, once they get a little educated on some of this stuff, that those vaccines aren't coming out tomorrow. It takes a long time to put a vaccine out. The one they got going now, they've been working on for years, the one for NanoFlu. They have a phase 1 test, a phase 2 test, a phase 3 test, then an approval process through the FDA. All that takes time, lots of time. So you see them come back down to something realistic. They're starting to come down once that thing's settled. Now, if you saw today, some of the news was picking up on that, and Novavax was going up on some of that news as well. But fear and greed, those two things are always what's driving the market. There's another thing that's going on this week that you may have heard something about, and that's earnings. You'll hear people talk about Apple has their earnings call after hours, or Tesla has their earnings call after hours, or sometimes people have them before the market opens. A couple of things goes on in earnings. They have guidance from the previous quarter, so they've got a certain prediction out there that they're going to have so much in earnings and they're going to have so much in revenue. Those are the two things that they always talk about, the earnings and the revenue. If they miss either one of those, that's bad for the stock. You're going to see it usually, in most cases, drop. If they miss them both, in almost all cases, you're going to see them drop. There are cases where the third thing, which is the guidance for the next quarter, where they give those same type of numbers, but this is for the next quarter. If they have some real good guidance for the next quarter, then their stock may hold steady. It may actually go up, even if they've missed some of these numbers. Now, if they make their earnings and they make the revenue and they give good guidance, you can bet that stock's going to be going up. So that's what happens at earnings. Now, earnings can be quite dangerous, okay? I don't like to buy stocks close to earnings time, just because of that reason. I have done it in the past, and this is one of those deals that I want you to learn from my mistake. But I bought them before earnings, and a lot of times gotten burned because I bought before earnings. It's best just to wait till the earnings is over, let the dust settle. Either way, they'll go up like crazy sometimes, and they'll come back down to a certain level. Usually they'll have a little settling period both ways, and you can get back in on that stock. But I don't like to do anything, I don't like to do anything before earnings. So I was going to show you this one here. I'll show you what to look for. This is EXAS, one of the stocks we've traded recently. I actually sold some today. I'll talk about that in a minute. But you can look under here. This would be under my portfolio, under Stock Talk that we built the other day. And you can go here and you can see this earnings date right here. Earnings date, February the 11th, 2020. Okay, so I wouldn't really want to be buying this stock anytime soon. I'm glad I got to sell it today because I don't really want to be holding it when it comes earnings time. Now, like I said, if they beat all the numbers and they give good numbers for the next quarter, this thing will be over 100, and no doubt. Okay, but I don't want to chance that because if they miss anything, it could be back down to 80. So I don't want to chance it. I'd rather take my money, which I did today. We'll talk about that. Some of the trades that we made this week. Let's talk about some of that. Sold Novavax back on the 21st. Novavax for $9.91. You recall I told you I sold some of those shares right at the close. Then I turned around and bought them back on the 28th. Those same number of shares I bought back at $6.71. Okay, so that's a $3.20 difference. So I got them for $3.20 cheaper than I just sold them for. All right, so the hope is to be able to sell them again for a higher price. I did sell half of them today. Sold half of them today in after hours. Novavax had a pretty good day during the day, and I was trying to sell it during the day. Couldn't ever get my order to go through, and so we just kind of hung that up. And then I put in an after hours trade, thinking maybe this thing will go. And sure enough, it went. They actually went up to $7.25 a share, and I sold at $7.15. So that was a 6.5% gain in a matter of what was that? 28. Bought it back on the 28th, sold it on 30th. 2 days. I'll take a 6.5% gain in 2 days all day long. That's easy money. That's good money. You're not going to get a CD to even pay close to that, and they'd have your money for a year. Also sold this Exact Science as well. Sold it today at $92.56. As you see, it actually went up to almost $4. I missed the high. Like I always say, you're not going to make the highs. You're not going to make the lows. You got to find a point you're going to be happy at and make the money. So I was happy at $92.56 today. That actually sold around noon time, I think it was, right around here somewhere. Yeah. And so I took that. That was bought on the 24th for $89. We sold it for $92.56. That's a 3.8% gain in just a matter of what it was there. That was probably 6 days. So I'll take that as well. 3.8% in 6 days. I'll take that all day long. So those were some good trades this week. Getting real close on the MPC. It was actually up in after hours. They had earnings yesterday. Now, sometimes you're holding a stock and you just got to hold it through earnings. I don't want to sell it before earnings or, just to be getting out of that danger spot because I'm in it. So I'm going to go ahead and stay in it. Because if it does go up, I'm going to be in good shape. But I don't want to buy around there because if I can avoid earnings, I'm going to avoid it. So we're going to look at MPC tomorrow. Watch that. I'm going to try to sell the other half of the Novavax that I bought the other day. I still hold a bigger portion of Novavax in my portfolio. I keep that. I'm waiting on that NanoFlu phase 3 results come out. That could be painful for me, but I'm feeling like this might be a good phase 3. So based off of the phase 2 data. So I'm going to hang on to that and just ride that one out as well. That's going to be dangerous. Like I said, these pharmaceutical drugs are dangerous, but I always got my strategy. My strategy is you don't have too large of a portion of your portfolio of anything. And so if you do get burned and burned bad on one, you can make a good comeback from it. It's not the end of the world, but nobody likes it. So we don't want to lose. That's for sure. But my strategy is I'm going to buy the stocks. I'm going to cost average down to a certain degree, that percentage of my portfolio. I'm going to hold that stock for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever I got to hold it for. I don't hardly ever sell out of a stock just to be getting out of a stock. I hold on to these things. In most cases, they turn around. Now, there's been some that don't, and there's been some that's been an expensive lesson, but those are few and far between. I'd say in the 20 years I've been doing this, I've only had to. I went through a couple of bankruptcies on the two companies probably, and probably sold out at a loss, at a bad loss. Let's put it that way. More than, let's say, 50% of our whatever we invested. I probably did that maybe 3 or 4 times in my 20 years. So hold these things. I hold them. That's my strategy. Now, I got a friend of mine. He's going to sell them if they hit a certain percentage. I've had too many go down 15, 20% just to come back and make good money. So I don't sell. I don't sell if I'm not in the green. So that's my strategy. Doesn't work for everybody, but that's my strategy. All right, so we'll be looking for those things tomorrow. Looking for that Novavax trade. Try maybe possibly MPC if it gets green enough. It probably won't get that high tomorrow, so we'll probably be hanging on that for another week or so, hopefully, and we can get rid of it by then. All right, well, you have some great trading tomorrow if you're trading yet. If not, why not get started? Doesn't cost anything on commissions now. That's something different than back in my day. My day, it used to be $15, $20 for a commission, so you had to trade a lot. Now you could probably buy one share of a company, and you'd be fine. You don't have to worry about the commission. So no reason not to get started. This is something that you can get started with, and you can just invest as much as you want, but take it as slow as you want, okay? So continue to watch the videos. We appreciate you watching them. Appreciate the subscriptions. We've gotten some more, and gotten more likes, and we've gotten more view time, and I appreciate that as well. Hopefully, I've got this thing set up now where you're going to see a subscribe button, hopefully, right over here in this corner. I hope I've got that set up right. If not, look for the subscribe button within YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Tell your friends about it. Let's build this community, and let's talk about some stocks. Have a great day.